I'm going to go now to our last question because we are heading toward the end of our hour. And a really interesting point somebody's brought up here, suggesting that interaction goes against the essence of out-of-home, that out-of-home is really about a single panel reaching a large audience, whereas interactive is one-to-one. I think that's been one of the core questions facing the digital signage industry for, well, as long as I can remember being involved in it, which is 7-8 years now. And I'll answer it by saying, I'm not sitting on the fence here, but my answer is both yes and no. Yes, some kinds of digital out-of-home are, of course, one-to-many. Classic example of that would be a digital billboard, for example. We've just got a new tenant in Piccadilly Circus in London, for example, where you're reaching tens of thousands of people a day. At the other extreme, you have a shelf-edge display, which at any given moment, is probably only going to be one-to-one, or maybe at most 1 to 2 and 3. So I will say that there's a role for both. Increasingly, what we're seeing, though, and particularly with the increased integration of mobile and social, is that we're seeing the one-to-many display being used to deliver a call to action, which then involves the use of one-to-one communication. So it's the big billboard saying, text me, essentially. I'll close our presentation now, just before I hand over to Mike for final farewells, with a prediction, and that is that, a year from now, 2-3 years from now, we won't be sitting here talking about digital out-of-home as if it's only one thing, because I think what's becoming increasingly apparent from some of the trends we've presented today, both myself and Mike, and from what all of you are doing out there, is that it's a lot of different things, and there's space for a lot of different technology approaches, as well as a lot of different approaches to engaging the consumer. So I'm going to sign off now, and I'm going to hand over to Mike for the very end of our webinar, and I'd just like to thank you all for coming, and see you next year, or hear you next year at least.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Barnaby, Yoni, and Steve for the help, and but especially all of you who've stayed with us for the hour now. And we're going to be, I will be contacting a few of you personally and writing to everybody with all contact details. We've had quite a few requests for sort of information and things like that, but what we want to do is to sort of look at the format of this for next time and make it relevant. And I think one of the things we'll be looking for when we write to you about the next one is to get your questions in front about what topics you want to cover, what's important to you. But thanks very much, and it's been good to communicate with you all, and take care, and wish you all a very happy Christmas and pleasant New Year, and hopefully speak to you again in January. Bye-bye.